7, 8, 9, 10.
All right, we are back on Plate Forward with Shari Berman,
Hello.
filmmaker, writer, director, editor. Thank you for being on the show, Shari.
I'm really happy to be here. This is exciting.
Awesome. That just rolls on the tongue. Show Shari. Would you like to share anything about yourself prior to diving into the questions?
Just that I'm really grateful to be here. I think it's great that filmmakers help each other out and get to share what they're doing. And I believe in all working together to make great content and change the world.
That's awesome. That's very bold of you to sh say and share. And I wholeheartedly am with you. I think at some point in my journey, I stopped trying to change the world and I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to focus on myself as a part of changing the world. But, it's all the
That
same,
works.
right?
Yeah.
It's all the same. And like, I got to tell you, your background, man, I just want to we've been talking a little bit before we started. I'm just ready to like just kind of drift through your head and dive into that background. Is that just a cool design?
Oh, yeah. This is my logo, and it was made by Definition Brand House. They designed it for me. We had this whole conversation about uh, what my brand was, what I wanted
Right.
to represent. And if you look, it's almost like a camera with two eyes instead of one. So
Okay.
seeing the world in 3 dimension.
All right. Far out. Oh, I'm glad I asked. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Sherry, we'll be talking today about Woman, and it is an experimental film, I would say.
Yes.
Experimental in the sense there's not just like a straight narrative. I think everything outside of that straight narrative is kind of considered experimental, especially if you get some funky shots in there. And so that said, there still is kind of a through line, especially where you start and where you end with the project, and the focus. And it's kind of like begins as this like playful montage of the role of a woman and the different types of roles and archetypes. And then it kind of explores that for a bit, and then it stops doing that seemingly, and it focuses on the actual person for a moment and how they present, whether they're presenting um, themselves on the surface or maybe deeper as a spirit. But it stops that kind of role play. So that's how I would describe it. How would you describe it or set it
Yeah,
up?
I think that's incredibly insightful. I'm impressed and happy that you got that from the film. I made this film because women are often told you're this, you're that, you have to pick like are you the person who's all about your image? Are you the person that's nerdy? Like what whole? And that's probably true for men too, right? I'm just a woman, so I speak from a woman's point of view. But we're really put in these boxes, and as the film progresses, they start to become more than one persona. So, half of their face becomes something else with great makeup team
Right.
on. And it's because they're more than one thing. And in the end, they're a human. And I want people to look at women as humans and not as things that dangle as ornaments or, you know, it's a lot. So I think that was the purpose of the film.
Yeah, no, it's a great purpose. And, I definitely, um, men have their own kind of social stereotypes that they've got to play into to be successful in the masculine world. And certainly that's evolving now, from where I grew up. And, it's always kind of evolving. And, and women still are maybe have those roles and societal kind of constraints have evolved less. Or maybe there's just kind of a wider picture, but there's no doubt that women are, used in a way to sell stuff, and the sexualizing of women is much more prevalent than it is with men, although of course it exists when, the consumer is wanting to buy shaving cream on a commercial and you see, that. I mean, it's there on diapers. I mean, it's there on adult
Yeah.
diapers.
But you know what frustrates me so much about this industry right now is like, yes, we're all we're all talking about this, but we've kind of gone in the wrong direction. If you look back at like the 70s and the 60s before my time, don't want to overage myself here, but when you look at that and you look at the people who were on TV, they looked like real people. I mean, if you look at the cast of Taxi, it's not diverse, and that has always been an issue, and I don't want to discount that. But as far as like people, they didn't all look like plasticated Barbie dolls. Now we've gone this way that we've become that. So I get it with the ads. It's like that's not a real person. I mean, I know it's a real person. I don't begrudge them, but they're CGI'd, they put the Cosmo filter on. Like, and in some cases that works, but in others it just seems so inauthentic. And I'm all about authenticity, so it drives me crazy. And that's also partly why, to bring it back to the film, right, why I made this film. It's like, can't we just be humans? Why do we have to, put on the plastic face?
There's no doubt we've got a lot of progress to grow, and you've raised that question of in terms of the first question to play it forward is where in your experience as a person did the inspiration come from to make this film?
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's basically just existing in the world
Yeah.
and seeing the stuff that goes on, and hearing other people talk about it. Oh, at work, like somebody who has a day job, maybe, I've heard from people, oh, I work as a receptionist, so I have to be like perky, and then, and it's like, of course you have to be a nice person, you're answering the phones, but like you have to be a receptionist role. It's like they're acting in their real life, and it drives me crazy. And that's when I make films, right? I make films when I get so frustrated with something that I have to say something about it. And that's what I mean about changing the world, right? I can't really wave a wand or, turn on a camera and it's just going to change the world, make that edit and it's going to be perfect. But I certainly can express what I'm feeling, which then other people might say, hey, I feel that way too. Or, oh, I didn't think about that, and maybe slowly that will change
Yeah,
the world.
no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I thank you for expressing it in that way, and I um think that speaking up and saying something and acknowledging the obvious elephant in the room is the first way to change anything, whether it's within or outside. It does begin there, and so allowing a conversation to happen with a creative project and delving into the details of the creative project, to the theme and the ideas you're working with to allow others to like experience those dimensions in their own life is, what it's all about essentially. And so I definitely applaud that work and that initiative that you have.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Getting into the meaning of the movie, we've definitely talked about it, but what I really focus on is the takeaway. I want art that you could say whatever. I mean, challenges you, blah, blah. I mean, those are all things that are great, but I want it to feed me. I want to eat something. I want a little meal, something, a nugget that I can have that enriches my life. So, what, as a viewer watching your film now, yourself, what do you walk away with?
I walk away with a reminder of humanity. And I walk away feeling like it's okay if I don't want to put on the makeup and do my hair, like my hair's falling my face here, like I'm conscious about it, but maybe it's okay that it is. Maybe don't worry so much. And I think, and let's all see each other individually and be seen and feel like we're being seen. So I hope that's coming across to the viewer.
It does. And thank you for that. I know it can be a challenging question, and I try to pose it in a way that's, just kind of personal to you when, somebody says, well, what does your art mean? And I appreciate what you said so much, in particular for the word reminder. What we do doesn't have to be like, oh, I've got this new idea about, it, even if it's a reminder in a way that we can emote it and feel it and connect with it, it's certainly meaningful and worthwhile. And, certainly we all need those reminders, in our life to go beyond the surface and to see, each other in a more, human, holistic way. So thank you. the last,
Thank you for feeling that way.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
nice to hear. It's
Yeah,
always nice to hear.
yeah. No, I mean, I think we all as humans are, made of the same stock, and our kind of basic human needs for connection are there, and no matter what the package looks like. So that said, the last question to play it forward. Since making Woman, how have you been personally changed?
You know, this is going to be kind of off what we're talking about, but I've personally changed because I shot that film on film, and I had never gone and made a film with actual film. And I know it sounds weird. Women often feel like, oh, can I do that? I'm sure men have that too. I just think it's worse with women. We're like, oh no, there's that inner voice going, you don't know what you're doing. Um, so I feel like there's a lot more I can do, and there's many more ways I can make art. It doesn't have to be just a video camera, which is great, but it can also be film. You know, I shot, directed, edited, and did the concept for it. There's no dialogue, obviously, in the film. um and the sound design, like it's just all like it was a nice moment of, oh, I can do all of it. Not that I don't like to collaborate, because some people really excel in places that I'll never excel like they do, but it's just nice to know that you can do it, and I encourage everyone to just go do it.
That's awesome that you have an understanding for the whole process. I mean, I have no idea what it would be like to cut film.
Do it.
So you edited the film, stitched it
Oh no,
together.
no, 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 I didn't. No,
Oh,
no, no. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
oh, okay.
I just mean that I went out and shot film where you have to like look at the meter and know like your light, and not
Sure.
just look at a monitor.
Yes,
So I
yes.
apologize. I would like to
Okay.
do that
All right. Because
someday.
I
I
was
have
like,
not
whoa,
had
that's
that
far out. That's
experience.
like out in the
I would like
woods,
to
hunting
though.
your
I
own
Yeah,
squirrel.
but that would be great,
Yeah,
right? Just to see what that was like.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because I know people who are a bit older than me who have done that, and I miss that boat.
yeah.
So that would be interesting, but no, it was all transferred to digital, so just
Cool.
to be clear.
Yeah. Well, I'd say there must have been, you had mentioned this, you go out and make a film when you get like pent up about a topic. And now that you've experienced that topic and have had some sort of catharsis, I would assume, how do you feel? Do you feel differently? Is there another topic? Are you relieved
Yes.
from that topic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am generally relieved. I'm not saying that stereotypes don't still annoy me, because they do, but but I feel like I said what I have to say, right? There's nothing else to be
yeah,
said. Maybe by other people, not by me. I am working on a film that is about the unfairness of the world, and accepting that the world is unfair. It's really for tweens, though I think it has humor that spans age groups and generations, but I volunteered at a school for many years, and I one day was talking, this is where this came from. I was talking to a 12-year-old who had seen, a movie designed for her age group. And I asked her what she thought about it. She saw it over the weekend, and she said, I liked it. It was fun, but it didn't have a realistic ending. And it really shocked me, because I was like, well, that's what kids' movies do. Isn't that what they want? But she seemed disappointed. And I realized that people, younger people are so exposed to the world now. It's faster, it hits them more. There's technology, that they're like, don't they understand what I'm going through? And so this film is actually about a Jewish girl and a Muslim girl becoming friends, and about the world around them around that. Not too in depth. It's post 9/11. It's like a slice of life. It's almost like Emily from Our Town comes back to her life and really looks at it. This little girl, she gets in a car accident, she loses her foot, and she goes to live with her grandmother, and now is really looking at the unfairness of the world, and how people are pitted against each other. And it just looks at that, but from a 12-year-old ability of viewing it, so it's not so harsh. And like I said, there's a lot of humor, and her grandmother's a Holocaust survivor, and there's a ghost living in the attic who's 10 years old and is kind of out of her mind. And it's hopefully going to be a fun film, but that also says, I hear you, it's not fair. Life isn't fair, and the crap they're selling you isn't true. Yay, the bully's bad, and then at the end we realize, and everybody, you know. So
Well, I'd love to see that and have you back on the show for
thank
that.
you.
We can talk about that. It's a great topic. I think we're all reconciling ourselves with that as we age and progress through life. Shari Berman, filmmaker, writer, director, editor. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful wave. Bye, Shari. All right, everybody, till next time.